So we have the interaction now. Let's start. The first question says, which one of the following combinations of characteristics best describes private goods? So what are private goods?
Private goods are goods with the following characteristics: rival and excludable.
So a private good is rivalry and is excludable. Okay, so which one has both characteristics here?
The answer that has both characteristics is A.
A, rivalry and excludable. Why is it not B?
It's not B because private good is always excludable. Your consumption affects other people.
So we'll go to B. You said, you said it's rival and non-excludable. They said, which one of the following has the combination? We need to talk about the combination. A has the combination, right? So why is it not B?
Because it lacks a characteristic in the combination, which is non-excludable here.
It is B. It is not B because B has rival and non-excludable, which means B has a characteristic of a private good and a public good. That is how to answer. It's not C because of what?
Because it says that it's non-rival, while a private good is rival and excludable.
Good. And it is not D because of what?
D just defines what a public good is.
Okay, that's why it is not D, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So we move on. So we have question 2. So it was estimated that the price elasticity of demand for cereals was negative 0.6, and for food it was minus negative 0.7.
Mm-hmm.
The question says, which one of the following factor is most likely to cause demand for a product to be price inelastic? Before we go into that, what is price elasticity of demand?
It's the degree of responsiveness to a change in price. Degree of responsiveness of demand to a change in price.
Quantity demanded. The degree of responsiveness between the quantity demanded of a product as a result of a change in price. That is price elasticity of demand. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now they said, which one of the following factor is most likely to cause demand for a product to be price inelastic? So when it is price inelastic, what does it mean?
When it's price inelastic, it means that there's a disproportionate relation between the change in quantity demanded and the price.
Okay, great. So, and when it is elastic, what does that mean?
When it is elastic, it means that as quantity demanded increases, the price increases, or there is a proportionate change in the price and demand.
Okay. So you can simply just say it is price inelastic because there's no significant change in the quantity demanded as a result of a change in price. That is price inelastic. And it is price elastic because there's a significant change in the quantity demanded of a product as a result of a change in price. Great. So now there are legal constraints on manufacturing the product. Why is it not A? What's your answer anyway?
I'd say my answer, can I read the options?
Yes, please do.
There are legal constraints. Well, I think the answer is D.
The answer is D. The product lacks substitutes. Okay. Now, why did you choose D as the answer?
Because it's D because can I start by saying why it's not A?
No, you choose D, right? So you tell me why it is D.
It is D because there are no substitutes for the product. So people keep on buying the product regardless, irrespective of the price change.
I like that answer, but it would have been better you say it this way. If the product lacks substitute, it means there are no choices for consumers to make. So definitely, whatever the price is, they have to buy. So a product that lacks substitute, because one of the ways in which the price of a product can reduce is when there are availability of substitutes. So lack of substitute means that we do not have choice. It is only when we have choice, that means when there's competition, that prices are more affordable. So the demand for a product will be price inelastic if the product lacks substitute. So the answer is D, yes. Now, why is it not A, and what is in A?
A says that there are legal constraints on manufacturing the product. This means that the product is not available when there's legal constraints.
Oh, it is not A because they said there are legal constraints on manufacturing the product. It is not A. That's not why it's not A. It is not. Your answer is wrong. If it is not A is talking about manufacturing. That is price elasticity of supply. It is not A because A is about PES and we're talking about PED.
Okay.
It is not A because it is PES. Okay. V.
There are large stocks of the product available. This also talks about the supply of the
yeah. So if there are large stocks of product available, that means it is price elastic. That means the supply is what? Price elastic.
Yeah.
Good. And why is it not C?
Because C says that the product has many substitutes, and here it talks about the it would be elastic if price it would be elastic if
there are more substitutes. Because when there are many substitutes, it means there's competition in the market. And when there's competition in the market, everybody wants to sell to the same customer in that market because there's no customer in heaven. So we don't have any other choice than to attract them with a lower price. Based on the law of demand, when the price is low, we tend to buy more. So it is not C because C indicates that prices should fall. And based on the PED here, it is the PED here is less than 1. And if it is less than 1, it is price inelastic. So the answer is D. Great. So go to question 3.
Okay. The table shows average.
So we're in question 3. I'm waiting here. Yeah.
Okay. I think I have my answer ready.
Okay. What's the answer?
It's B.
It's B. Now let's see the question. The question says the table shows the average percentage change in the price of tickets for national basketball, NBA. Okay. The percentage change in quantity of tickets sold. The data compares the percentage changes between 2021 and 2022. The average percentage change in the price of tickets for NBA games were 10%, and percentage change in quantity of tickets sold is 18%. So the price in relative to the quantity. So what answer did you get?
I got first of all, I calculated the price elasticity, and I got negative 1.76.
So it is greater than 1.
Yes.
So if it is greater than 1, it is what?
Elastic.
It is elastic. So the demand for NBA ticket is priced inelastic. The demand for NBA ticket is price elastic. Demand for NBA ticket is income. Okay. So why did you choose A? Because it is.
I chose B.
Oh, okay. Why is it not A?
It's not A because the price it's greater than 1, and greater than 1 means that it's elastic.
So it is not A because A is less than 1. It is not A because A is less than 1. You're still talking about greater than 1 again. No. It is not A because A is less than 1, based on the fact that the PED is priced inelastic. So it is B because B is greater than PED is greater than 1. So the answer is B. Great. Now, why is it not C?
It's not C because it talks about price and not income.
Great. And why is it not D?
Same reason. We're talking about price and not income.
So it's D, C and D are talking about income elastic, right? So what is income elasticity?
It's the income elasticity is the degree of responsiveness between the quantity supplied or demanded.
Quantity demanded, not supply.
Okay, we're talking about the quantity demanded in response to a change in income.
Thank you. That is PED. Great. So for PED, we have inferior goods and normal goods, right? So What is the YED for inferior goods?
A YAD for inferior goods, it's less than 1.
Negative.
Negative, sorry.
It's not less than 1, it's negative. And for normal good is what?
Positive.
Okay. Why? What's an inferior good? You're not going for that. Just calm down. I'm here with you. Why do we call it inferior good?
It's an inferior good because it's not incomes. Let's say the income does not change the percentage of demand.
The income does not change. The income does not change what?
The percentage of the demand for the product.
That's why it is inferior.
Mm.
So why is it normal good?
A normal good is controlled by the percentage of income a person has and the quantity demanded for it.
So we have income elasticity, which is the degree of responsiveness between the quantity demanded of the product as a result of a change in price. And we talked about inferior goods, which are goods that what really happens with inferior goods? Why do you think they have negative elasticity?
They have negative elasticity because a change in income does not affect the quantity demanded.
No. Income, inferior goods. What are inferior goods? Okay, define an inferior goods for me.
A good with a negative income elasticity.
Okay, so logically, you can say an inferior goods are goods that the demand for them reduces as the level of income increases. So there's always inverse relationship between inferior goods and income. That makes it inferior goods. So we stop buying them as soon as our level of income increases. And for normal goods, these are goods that we continue to buy as soon as our level of income increases. So for normal goods, as soon as the level of income falls, the demand for them reduces. So that means they have a positive relationship. Either increasing, it increase, reducing, it reduce. But for inferior goods, increase brings about reduction. Increase in income brings about reduction. Fall in income brings about increase. I think it's clear now. Yeah. So go to question 4.
Okay.
In South Africa, demand for electric blankets increased by 250% in 2022. Which one of the following combination is the most likely impact on the market for electric blankets? So here, what really happens? The demand for electric blankets increased. Okay.
Demand increases, yes.
Okay. So if demand increases, what happens to consumer surplus and what happens to producer consumer surplus and price? That's the question, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The consumer surplus increases.
Okay.
And the price increases as well.
Okay. So if demand for a product increases, it increases consumer surplus and increases the price. Now, let's start with consumer surplus. What is a consumer surplus?
Consumer surplus is the difference between what consumers are willing to pay and the market price.
Consumer surplus, right? Great. Then, why will the demand for a product bring about an increase in price? We're going to talk about consumer surplus, right? Which is the difference between the price consumers are willing to pay and the market price, right? The equilibrium price. Great. Now, why is it that when demand increases, price of the product increases? Why?
When demand increases, it means that people are more willing to pay for a product. And as we know from the definition, that consumer surplus is the difference between what they're willing to pay. So they're willing to pay more.
I'm asking you about demand, not consumer surplus. We've talked about consumer surplus. The question is, why is it that whenever demand increases, price rises? That is the question.
When demand increases, according to the law of demand, the more the demand, the higher the price.
Okay.
So when demand increases, price as well increases.
Why? That's the question I'm asking. Why?
To sort of to monetize the price of the product to avoid excess demand.
No. That's not the reason why price increases. Well, the price comes from the suppliers, right? Mm-hmm. So as soon as the demand for a product increases, that is an opportunity for firms to make more revenue. As a result of that, they respond by increasing the price. That's the question.
Okay.
The question is about why will price increase when quantity demanded increases? As long as the quantity demanded of a product increases, that is the opportunity for firms to make more revenue and profit, and to maximize profit and revenue. What do they have to do? They have to raise the price. So the response of the firms is to increase price as soon as the quantity demanded increases. So the answer is what?
C.
Question 4C, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great. We go to question 5.
Okay.
In July 2022, Amazon, the online retailer, announced that it would increase the price of its Amazon Price subscription service from 79 euros to pounds. Okay, yeah, 79 pounds to 95 pounds per year. This resulted to 590,000 UK consumers canceling their Amazon Prime subscription. Okay, so which one of the following is the most likely explanation of this behavior? They canceled, right?
Yes.
They canceled their subscription. So if they are canceling their subscription, what does that mean?
They aim to maximize utility.
So if they are maximizing their utility,
they're rational.
That means they are rational. That's rationality. So who is a rational consumer?
A rational consumer is a consumer that aims to maximize satisfaction
in the course of consumption.
In the course of consumption.
Thank you. And what is utility?
Utility satisfaction.
Yeah, the amount of satisfaction that can be derived from the consumption of any commodity. The answer is what now?
C.
Great. So go to question 6. The table shows the cost elasticity of demand for selected vehicles types with respect to the price of diesel vehicles in Norway. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have the question. So what's the question saying?
The question is saying which one of the following can be deduced from the table.
Okay. So go to question 6. So we have, okay. So they said we have the battery for okay. It's cross elasticity of demand. So what is cross elasticity of demand?
Cross elasticity for demand is the change in demand of product A in comparison when there's a price change in B.
Let me just help you out for that. Cross elasticity of demand is the degree of responsiveness between the quantity demanded of product A as a result of a change in price of product B. So, and it's always going when we talk about cross elasticity, it's either a substitute or a complement, right? So what makes an XED a substitute?
As a product is a substitute when it has a positive XED.
And what makes it a complement?
Less than negative.
Negative. Thank you. Now, what's the question saying? So which one of the following can be deduced from this table? Okay.
Well, first one says a 10% increase in the price of diesel vehicle will result in the decrease. That's wrong because it will result in an increase.
Okay. And
then for a 10% increase in the price of diesel, this one is wrong because here the change is 3.2, and which is wrong.
Okay.
And same goes for C. Here it is the change is 1.6. Well, D is wrong because there's a decrease here, and
D is wrong.
Sorry, C is wrong because it talks about decreasing here.
Okay, why is it D?
It is D because first of all it will increase, and when you multiply the 0.48 by the 5%, you get 2.4.
Great. So the answer is D, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So go on. That's all about section A, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go to section B. Hold on, please. Okay, question 7 said, in 2021, Spain produces 1.4 million tons of olives, accounting for 50% of world production. In 2022, a prolonged heat wave in Spain resulted in olive production falling to 1.1 million tons. Draw a diagram to illustrate the impact of these changes in the world market for olives. Okay, so why do you think you can only use the supply curve here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you use supply curve? Why can't you use other? There's a PPF that you can also use. It's about it's production, right? They said draw a diagram to illustrate the likely impact of this change to the world market for olives. So the world market for olives, okay, well, use your supply, it's fine anyway. So now let's see what he wrote. Due to the heat wave, farmers weren't able to provide the same quantity supply they used to. This results in a leftward shift of supply and a rise in price. So heat wave is considered to be a natural disaster, right? Great. And that brings about reduction in the supply.
Reduction in the crop yield
of olives. So that will bring about a leftward shift in the supply. So the supply curve will shift leftward. And the price will rise from P to P1, right? Okay. So we can as well have a graph for that. Let's see.
Is my graph correct?
Yeah, it's right. The graph is right. So we're going to have supply and demand and supply. And we have our PE and we have our QE. So the supply curve is shifting leftward, right? From S to S1. And that will reduce the quantity supplied, right?
Yeah.
It contracts it. Then we're going to have a new equilibrium price, a high equilibrium price at P1. Okay. Great. So that's done, right? Question 8. Solve it and explain.
Okay.
So we have question 8. It said, between 1970 and 2020, the Maldives experienced 30 major floods. Flood defense. One contributing factor was underinvestment in flood defenses. Builders of new hotels are required to complete extensive paperwork to show how they plan to minimize flood risk. This results in excessive administrative costs. With reference to the Maldives, explain the difference between market failure and government failure. So what is market failure?
Market failure occurs when there is inefficient or misallocation of resources in a market, or when
Misallocation of resources in the market. By who?
By the producers.
By the price mechanism.
Sorry, by the price mechanism.
So you can't talk about market failure without misallocation and price mechanism. Okay. So example is under provision of public goods, right? So is there any market failure in this case study?
In this case, yes. Because there is even though there was government.
Do you read the case study again? Read it again and see. It said between 1970 and 2020, the Maldives experienced 30 major flood events. One contributing factor was underinvestment in flood defense. So is flood defense, is it a private good or public good?
It's a public good.
So it is underprovided, right?
Yes.
So
that's market failure.
Really?
Well, government failure, not like government failure.
Okay. All right. So underinvestment in flood defenses, we could see it as market failure. It's not government because it's underprovided. Oh, yes. Okay. So under provision of goods, it's considered as a market failure. Great. Because the private sector might have even done that. They can do it too, but they're not doing it.
Because of free rider.
Because of the free rider. And they're not going to make revenue from it. That's why they're not doing it. Okay. Now, so there's a market failure as a result of that. So to prevent the market failure, government is doing what? Intervention. So now, there's market failure, and government is ensuring that builders of new hotels are supposed to make extensive paperwork to show how they plan to minimize flood risk. So, which simply means the flood is as a result of hotel builders that do not, really make plans for flood defense.
This is due to administrative costs.
No, don't go to administrative. Now, I'm trying to let you know why there was a market failure. So there's a market failure because the builders of hotels in the past, they do not make plans on how they want to minimize flood risk because they see it as not part of their own problem. And so as a result of that, they do not think about it. That was the market failure. That's negligence from their own side. Now there's government intervention. So what is government intervention? What is government intervention itself?
Government intervention is when the government intervenes to solve the market failure.
Good. So there's government intervention as a result of wanting to correct market failure. Great. Now, what is government failure?
Government failure is when the government intervention leads to a net welfare loss
Rather than
and net welfare gain.
Gain. So examples of government failure is what?
Extensive paperwork.
Extensive
Requirement of extensive paperwork because it causes great administrative costs.
To complete extensive paperwork to show how they plan to minimize flood risk. This results in excessive administrative cost. So the extensive paperwork takes time. This could be one of the reasons why there's market failure, because people might start bypassing the red tape. Excessive paperwork is a red tape. That means we have to do a lot of paperwork. So businesses, this is not administrative costs. I'm coming back to administrative costs. Excessive paperwork could become a market failure if businesses start thinking about bypassing it. So because businesses might bypass it, government have to spend money to ensure that it monitors the process. That is administrative cost. That is excessive administrative cost. Are you getting it now? There's government failure, like unintended consequence. An unintended consequence could occur here, or there could be a black market here, or there could be corruption here with the new hotel builders by trying to bypass extensive paperwork because it's going to take their time. That is the point. Excessive extension is just about time consuming. So time consumption does not affect government. It affects those that will take part in the process, the businesses. So as a result of that, a lot of new hotel builders might stop building hotels. And that is unintended consequence. Do you get it? So government wants to ensure that people do not bypass those regulations by ensuring that they finish up with their extensive paperwork to convince government that building that hotel would reduce the risk of flood. But government knows it is not possible. So that is why government is spending more in administration so that people will be able to monitor the process of hotel building. So that is excessive administrative cost. So there's market failure here in regards to excessive administrative cost, not extensive paperwork. Extensive paperwork will make the process standard. It is not government failure. Extensive paperwork will make the process what? Standard. So that is what is needed. But for the process to be standardized, government needs to spend more. That is excessive to monitor it. That is excessive administrative cost, which is government failure. But the standard process is not a government failure, but it is time consuming for the private sector. Do you get it now? So there's excessive administrative cost here, which means government starts spending more to monitor the process of government intervention, and that is government failure. So your answers are right, though. But I think you understand my point of view now. Great. So we'll move on.
Question 9.
Question 9, yes. So we have question 9. It said in the USA, 92% of people had private health insurance in 2021. It's estimated that in the US, 200 billion per year is spent on unnecessary operations. Unnecessary. That is misallocation already, right? Okay. Is it misallocation?
No, information gap. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Asymmetric. Oh, wait. Hear me out.
no. I'm not going further. You have to answer my question.
Okay.
In the USA, 92% of people had private health insurance in 2021.
Okay.
It is estimated that in the USA, $200 billion per year is spent on unnecessary operation. Is it misallocation or not?
It is.
It is. That's my point. Why is it misallocation?
It's a misallocation because people are paying for stuff they don't need.
Yes. So the money should have been used for something more, more effective and efficient. So that is the question. Now, to go further, explain one microeconomic reason why people might have unnecessary operation in the US. So let me read. Unnecessary operations may occur due to asymmetric information. Is when one economic agent has more information than another. 20 billion per year is spent on unnecessary operations. This implicates that doctor uses their superior knowledge to recommend surgeries that the patients may not need. Great. So there's unnecessary, okay, there's asymmetric information, which means information gap. So because it is expected that doctors have more knowledge than their patients, but no patient would want to say no to a doctor.
Because they think that doctors know best.
Yeah, do you understand? So that might be the reason why people take unnecessary operations, right? Okay, great. We go to question 10. We have question 10, right? So the table shows the average. So we have income elasticity. What's income elasticity of demand? We talked about it earlier, right? What's income elasticity, please?
It's the degree of response.
Degree, not decree. Decree is law. Degree, okay?
Okay. It's the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in income.
Level of income. Okay. So why it is change in quantity demanded over change in income? So here we have the income to be 40. So we have, okay. So we have our income to be YED equals Q2 minus Q1. Q2 minus Q1, which is 4022. Q2 minus Q1 over Q1, right? 4022 divided by Y2 minus Y1, 7.6 minus 4.7, right? Over 4.7, I think. So that gives us 4166 minus 4022. What does that give you, please? Where's our calculator? Okay, thank you. 4166 minus 4022. That's 144 over 4022 multiplied by 4.7 over 7.6. 7.6 minus 4.7. That's 2.9. 2.9. So we have 2.9 multiplied by 4022. That's 11663.8 over 144 multiplied by 4.7. That gives us 676. 676.8 divided by 11663.8. So we have 0.05, is it? No, how do you get your answer? 7.6, 4.7. Q2 minus Q1 over Y2 minus Y1 over Y1. So how do you get it? How do you get?
You should check your answer.
So what happens here? Oh.
What did you do?
Yeah, we Y2 minus Y1, right?
Mhm.
Q2, yeah. Oh, it's 7.6. There's a mistake here. So we have, let me just take this away. Do I claim it? So, oh, there's a mistake in this. We did Q2, I did Q2 and Q1 before each other. So it should be this before this.
Mhm.
But all in all, it's supposed to give us the same, though.
No.
No, it's not going to give us the same. Yes, you're right. So, guys, I've been doing something wrong here. So we have 4.7, which is the quantity. So this is our quantity. So this is our quantity, and this is our income. So that was a mistake for me there. Okay, it's fine. We just go back here. So I have it written down here. I need to erase it, but I don't know. Eraser. It's not erasing. It's not. Okay, it's fine. We'll move on. I'm just going to put it down here. So I'm going to have so we have sorry. So we're supposed to have Q2 minus Q1. That's 7.6. 7.6 minus 4.7 over 4.7, right?
Mhm.
Divided by 4166 minus 4022 over 4022. So here we have 7.6, that's 2.9, right?
Mhm.
2.9 over 4.7 multiplied by 4022, right?
Mhm.
4022 over
144.
144. Thank you. So here we have 2.9 multiplied by 4022. That's 1163.8 divided by 676.8. I did the other way around the other time. Sorry, guys. Divided by 676.8. So 17.23, okay? 17.23. Sorry about that, guys. So that's done. So the answer is 7.23, 17.23. So we can. So we have question 11.